My mantra is, I would rather be hated for being who I am than be loved pretending to be someone that I'm not. 3 words I would use to describe myself are resilient, tenacious, and kind. I was born on January 4th, 2000 in San Jose, California. I then moved to Texas at age 2.5 after my little sister Bree was born. I lived in Texas for about 8 years before moving back to California after my parents got divorced. TIPS, the leadership camp that my Aunt Natalie founded, made me grateful I didn't kill myself at 16. With everyone, there is someone or something in your life that saves you from bad decisions and helps guide you. That's what TIPS was and still is for me. I feel that I can be up here in front of you all today and talk about my life due to the fact that I've been through a lot. A few examples are, my biological father was not a good person at all, to put it lightly. When I moved back to California during the summer that my parents got divorced, I was molested by a family member. The first time I got depressed, I was 12, and that's honestly what my life-defining moments have been like. Because of TIPS, I am now able to see the true beauty of life, and I was able to solidify the commitment I made to putting my own happiness first. First, I will discuss who I was before TIPS, then I'll talk about the experiences I had at TIPS, and lastly, I'll talk about how I continue to apply what I've learned from those experiences, and how TIPS has changed my life in ways I never could have imagined. So first, I agreed to go to TIPS because there was just this gut feeling that I needed to go, and I soon found out that gut feeling I had was absolutely right. So, I was extremely shy and I lived my life for other people before TIPS. It was so bad that I used to be selectively mute. I had my best friend at the time, Sarah, literally speak for me starting the day I first met her in kindergarten. Years of bullying and due to the fact that I am disabled, it led me to try and make others happy first in an attempt to avoid being judged. So long story short, I lived my life putting others' happiness before my own. I didn't have many friends, if I had any friends at all at the time, and I had never known any different. That was until my Aunt Natalie invited me to come to TIPS. I was not prepared for how TIPS was about to turn my whole world utterly upside down. So the experiences I had at TIPS made me realize that I was in a protective shell. TIPS forced me to be introspective and work through past trauma. For example, one of the things we did was get into pairs and share with each other something we've never told anyone. I revealed to my partner that I was almost raped by the same family member who had molested me when I was 11. To be able to finally share that detail with someone was one of the most freeing things I've ever done. I remember when the camp ended and everyone was saying goodbye, I stood back and I watched as I realized that if I had killed myself, I never would have been able to experience something so beautiful. I took what I learned from TIPS not just about what I can do to work through things that are bothering me, whether they are big or small, but I also learned about who I truly am. After TIPS, I am a completely different person. TIPS is the reason I am an aspiring motivational speaker. So I truly believe there is a moment in every depressed person's life where it is no longer just fighting the suicidal thoughts, but they realize they actually want to live. That is what TIPS did for me. After TIPS, I will never look at the world in the same way again. TIPS taught me to always look for the positives in life and to live each day like it's your last. Because of TIPS, I gained the confidence to make wonderful friends here at OCC, and I also spoke at open mic night here on campus 2 years ago where I did a motivational speech. I never expected to be up here in front of you all today. I have no idea what my life would be like if it wasn't for TIPS. So first, I talked about my past self. Then I talked about the experiences I had at TIPS. Finally, I discussed how TIPS made me into my true self, the person up here in front of you today. Because of TIPS, I am now able to see the true beauty of not only life, but also myself, and I will continue to live each and every day understanding the importance of putting my own joy first. This quote said by my friend Carly on September 14th, 2019, when I asked her about the change she saw in me from 2 years ago at TIPS versus last year at TIPS. The change I saw in you was so monumentally profound it gives me chills. When I think about our first year together when we were sitting on the grass, practically in tears, feeling victimized by our traumas, it felt helpless and heavy. You are absolutely the hero of your own story, and you speak your truth, and you are a voice for those that go unheard. You have a sense of power about you now, like you can handle more than before, and you've healed more than ever.